Today, investors hit the brakes on the crypto sell-off for now, and Coinbase cuts 18% of its workforce in response to the crypto winter. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Kate Rooney. The sell-off in cryptocurrencies is slowing down, at least for now. Bitcoin is worth around $22,000 as of noon Eastern, though it fell briefly to $20,000. That's its lowest level since December 2020. Ether is actually in the green today, now worth more than $1,200, and Cardano also moving higher today. It's now worth about 50 cents. Still, today's mixed recovery is hardly enough to make up for the $200 billion wiped out of the crypto market since Saturday. Today, we're jumping right into our main story. Coinbase just announced it will lay off 18% of its workforce in response to the recent crypto downturn. In a memo to employees, CEO Brian Armstrong said, quote, "We appear to be entering a recession after a 10-plus year economic boom." He also said that the economy could be hard to predict, but the business had to plan for the worst. The move is just the latest in a slew of bad news for the company. Coinbase froze hiring and then even rescinded some job offers. The company also reported a slump in users in the prior quarter, along with a 27% drop in revenue. And then there's the stock price, which is down 80% just this year. I spoke to President and COO Emilie Choi in an exclusive interview about the layoffs and how the exchange plans to weather crypto winter. So certainly not the only tech company. Coinbase, though, about a month ago was saying at earnings, we're not doing any layoffs, at least yet. Then started pausing hiring, rescinding job offers, and now pretty big round of layoffs. What's changed in the past month that led you to this decision?
So first of all, Kate, this is a very difficult decision for Coinbase. And I think the hardest part about it is that we have an incredible base of employees who have contributed so much to Coinbase. So the best thing we can do, given that we've made this decision, is to make sure that we treat those outgoing employees with as much respect, dignity, and generosity as possible. And to that end, we've offered them generous severance packages, and we've also built a Coinbase talent hub to connect them with their next opportunity. With respect to the question about the lack of predictability, I think that anyone would acknowledge that we're in a very rapidly changing economic environment. We had the recent inflation report that came out that I think surprised many folks. We've had Jamie Dimon and others talk about an upcoming economic hurricane. And so given what's happening in the economy, it feels like the most prudent thing to do right now.
And do you wish in hindsight that you had just done this in one fell swoop and done the layoffs along with things like pausing cutoffs versus dragging it out? What's your take on that in hindsight for employees who may be wondering, why didn't you do this a month ago?
Right. So we had to make a very difficult decision with the accepted, not started employees. And that decision was, do we want to let them know before they come to Coinbase, or do we want to let them know after they come to Coinbase? Ultimately, we felt that it would be better to let them know before they came to Coinbase. Now, that said, we made sure that, again, we focused on generosity and we offered them strong severance packages, as well as connecting them with the Coinbase Talent Hub to connect them with their next big opportunity. Obviously, it's much easier when you can do things in one fell swoop, but we're dealing with humans, we're dealing with employees and other folks who were going to join the company, and we want to make sure that we're careful, respectful, and thoughtful about the way that we make those decisions.
Can Coinbase employees be confident that this is it, that there's not more layoffs to come?
The decision we've made is in light of all the information we have, and the intention is that this is a one-time event.
And what does this mean for the health of Coinbase's business? Does it signal a slowdown in trading activity? What does it say about Coinbase as a company?
Coinbase is a very strong company. We're in an incredible financial position. We have $6 billion of cash on the balance sheet, and we've been through 4 crypto winters before. We will power through any macro environment, any crypto winter, anything that's coming. That's what we're made of. The reality, though, is that we have to adjust when we feel that there is a very dynamic economic environment in play, and so we're going to make those decisions based on those factors.
Is this a current crypto winter? Is that how you describe it?
We don't know if it's a crypto winter. What I do know is that Coinbase has powered through 4 of them before and knows how to operate specifically during those crypto winters. And so the things that we do during crypto winters is we hunker down a bit more, we focus more on core long-term revenue opportunities, And we also make calculated bets. So for example, in the last crypto winter, we did the acquisitions of both Tagomi, which was our prime brokerage, as well as Zappo, which was the foundation for our crypto custodian business. So we're also not afraid to take bets during winters. It's actually when we can punch above our weight.
So how do you balance doing M&A, maybe spending more on companies that might seem attractive at these valuations, and also cutting costs and cutting headcount? What about the optics of that for employees who may have been laid off and then look at an announcement from Coinbase saying, wait a minute, they're also buying startups at the same time? How do you balance that?
We are going to operate with the same level of rigor, whether it's organic decisions or M&A decisions. And so for things like M&A during a crypto winter, we're going to have a much higher bar for M&A. We're going to make sure that we focus on things that have more known revenue and profit opportunities. So it's very consistent in both regards.
And you mentioned a potential crypto winter and that the Coinbase has lived through multiple cycles, multiple market cycles. What about employees that might not have ever seen a crypto winter, a market downturn, or a potential recession at this point? How are you counseling employees who might be nervous about the stock price and what's going on in the economy?
Yeah. Well, I signed my offer at the beginning of the last bad cycle, and it was a very big learning moment for me. One of the things that we test when we hire new employees is we test for resilience, because to be part of crypto, you have to be able to weather the high highs and low lows of the sector. It's just a dynamic new category. So to that end, we really talk to the employees quite a bit about how to think about these cycles, that you double down, that you build hard, that you kind of harken back to the entrepreneurial startup builder roots of the company during these times. You try to do more with less. And as you power through, there's disproportionate rewards on the other side of that.
What about the employees? You mentioned earlier that there were some job offers that were rescinded. Did they have the same resources? Were they able to get any sort of severance, or what was sort of the bridge between? I've spoken to a lot of tech employees who took jobs here and then now are free agents and are sort of in this middle, they quit their jobs. How did you counsel them through this, or did you offer any resources?
Yes, it was a very difficult decision and one we didn't take lightly, and it was very unfortunate, and we feel very deeply for those folks. So to that end, we did offer both severance to those folks who hadn't yet started as employees but who had offers rescinded, and we also put them on the Coinbase Talent Hub. Now, the Coinbase Talent Hub is actually super interesting because we have a lot of tentacles into the crypto ecosystem. We have 250 crypto portfolio companies in the Coinbase Ventures ecosystem. We have a lot of connections in the venture capital ecosystem. And our chief people officer, LJ Brock, is personally trying to make these connections to connect these folks with the best opportunities. So we're very invested in helping.
Are there certain places within the company that you're looking to cut costs and cut headcount? Are there either HR or advertising? Can you sort of describe where in the company you're going to be scaling back?
Sure. So the way I would think about this is that we're always going to double down on functional areas where we have a competitive differentiation. So examples of that would be compliance, security, and other functions where we're always going to keep investing because they're part of our value prop of safety, security, ease of use. We will be reorienting many of the employees to core, nearer to medium-term revenue opportunities, but the product strategy continues to remain the same. If there are any cuts to new product areas, it's going to be more around experimental venture areas that we're still very bullish on, but that we don't want to kind of invest in this part of the cycle.
You mentioned cybersecurity. CNBC has done a few investigations on Coinbase's security. That does seem to be a huge area of focus for crypto in general. That's not a place that you're scaling back on right now.
We will never scale back on security. It's part of our fundamental value prop. It's our differentiator, and we'll continue to invest in it.
And then are there places within Coinbase that you are keeping your foot on the gas pedal and that you will be spending more in this environment?
Yes, we look at our product strategy and we're very oriented around doubling down on the core and strategic areas that drive near and medium term revenue growth and MTU activity. And so you can see us have a renewed focus on those things, and then subsequently we will continue to invest in incredible innovative areas of crypto that we think are emerging over the longer term, but we're probably going to do those in a more measured way during this type of an environment.
You mentioned crypto winter, a potential slowdown. That's been a big focus for Wall Street. Trading activity, that has slowed down in the retail markets as well. Does this signal anything about the behavior of crypto traders and what we should expect in the next 6 months or 12 months?
Well, I can't predict trading activity in crypto. I have no idea how that'll evolve. But I think that one of the things that we've seen over the past several years is a much more meaningful growth in true sustained crypto activity. And we have a registered user base of 90 million customers at this point. And so our job is to just make sure we focus on the customer, that we offer them the best set of products and services that they can interact with in the crypto economy. And I think the rest will follow.
As we talk about employee morale, the stock price of Coinbase is down significantly this year. A lot of tech companies tend to compensate people in the form of either options or equity and basically a stake in the company. Have you considered either right-sizing employees by issuing more stock or doing anything on the equity side for individual employees? How have you thought about that? And is that worth it for employees that may be sticking around, showing some loyalty to Coinbase? Is that something you'd consider?
Coinbase is a long-term play. And I think that when you think about companies that are in new categories, much in the same way that Amazon or Tesla was back in the day, you're going to have a challenging environment, especially in a risk-off environment, both for employees and investors. That said, we have very deep conviction in the long-term value of the stock. And so we think that anyone who makes an investment, whether they're an employee or an investor, will have a handsome return over the longer term. We want to make sure that employees feel excited and invested in being here, and we're always going to look at ways to incent and retain them.
And for the ones that are underwater, though, in the near term, say it's the company went public last year, there are people who have been at the company, I'm sure, for the last 5 years or so, who may need to buy a house, pay for college. How do you explain that to them in the near term? It might be an Amazon bet over decades, but it's the stock right now is down significantly this year.
Well, we're always going to look at that, and we're going to work with the employees on the right strategies. One of the things that we offer is annual grants. So when you sign up for the company, whatever that 3-year grant that you get, you're going to be designated that in an annual basis. And part of that strategy was to make sure that we could mitigate for the swings and volatility in the crypto cycle. So I think that addresses some of it.
And what about employee morale? Are there other things you're able to do for those who are staying, who might be leaving some of their colleagues and their teams are getting turned upside down right now?
We want all of our best employees to be here for the long term. The thing with crypto is that you have to be able to weather the cycles. And to that end, we do test for resilience when we're hiring folks, because we want to make sure they understand that it's not going to be this entirely predictable path. We all believe in the long-term vision. We all believe in the long-term value, but it's not going to be a very kind of just easy slope up. It's going to be some ups and downs. So we spend a lot of time with the employees helping them understand how the cycles work, what we've all been through ourselves, and we hope that they'll continue on that journey with us.
Okay, that's all for Crypto World today, but you can find that full interview and a lot more at cnbc.com/cryptoworld. We'll be back here again tomorrow. We'll see you then.